Makers of all time. Standard map, decent rush distance as we get into it. This map has no in-game countdown. Let me just tell the admins that. Alright, cool. Let's get into this as we kick this off. I thought that happened yesterday too, but I thought it was just a bug with the replay. I think the map is actually in that situation then. Alright, so we can get this up and running. And we start on the bottom left side with our blue Terran player. It is INnoVation. And we do have in the top right our red Zerg Rogue from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Zest versus Hero. We're going to cast Zest versus Hero later. It's one that we're going to do from replays later on. We play two at the same time early on. So, this map's really cool. I really like, one of the things, and this is going to sound kind of lame, but one of the things I really like about it is I just feel like this collapsible rocks over here is like a really cool touch. Like, that sounds crazy, but what happens, you kill these rocks and it just drops rocks down to like here. I just think it's one of those cool things, like the map doesn't need it, but it's just a cute way to add a little bit of extra something that you can do, you have an option to do to help you defend that base. I don't know, I just feel like that's kind of neat, you know? I just feel like that's kind of neat. So, yeah. Something to just something that I thought was kind of cool as we get ourselves into this game. Yeah, the map layout's pretty fun in general. I think very easy to take 4 bases. The 5th base is going to be the one that's a little bit tougher to take. I think this is absolutely a great map to go kind of later game ZVT on. Very choked up though, so if you do get to lurkers and stuff, lurkers can absolutely create a problem, that's for sure. This SCV pulls back a little bit. The rocks are down as a sick tank position. Yeah. Tanks would cover what, like this? So it'd let you walk up to here, like it wouldn't hit the base, but it would let you kind of access the base, so... Yeah, but you're also doing it, like, rocks would go to here, so anything you access with has to come through this, like, super narrow choke point. Right? That's definitely going to be one of the problems. I don't know, guys, it's interesting. I like this map. I think it's really cool. Excited to see some TvZ on it as that Reaper comes in. We see what happens here with INnoVation versus Rogue. Again, this is the Team Liquid Map Contest 15. It's our 7th WardiTV Map Contest tournament for TLMC as well. $4,000, sponsored by Shopify and ESL and stuff. It's just fantastic to have this back. I really did think we'd have seen the last of these when we finished it up in February of last year, and then things started to look downhill. And now we're back. How amazing is that? Overlord speed early from Rogue. He wants to know what's going on in the early stages of this one. Oh, Hellion's gonna get turned away. Reaper trying to scout. I want to see that gas. There's a fair amount of gas being mined, but he also sees the wiggling on the hatchery, I think. So that means you probably know it's Overlord speed coming up. INnoVation just gonna go Fusion Core off the 2 bases into a 3rd CC behind it. Very difficult to stop this Overlord scout. So I feel like this is just gonna get in. Marines were just a little bit too far away from each other. So, you know, Overlord's going to see everything. Full scout information for Rogue to start us off. Hellion's going to try and dive the right side at the same time. Then you got 3 drones. If one of these would survive, that would be amazing. I just don't think it does, right? Chased by these Zerglings, it's almost destined to go down. And there it is. The Hellions do fall as Reaper and a couple of Hellions now also in the center. Just going to see that Rotron dropping down at the front as well, so just getting that up and running. Additional drone cell on the way in. This Queen being brought up as well. All of those extractors coming through on the naturals. Just going to see this little bit of Hellion Reaper also making its way out through the bottom side of the map. Overlord coming in. A couple of Marines are going to be here and just going to start putting some damage out. So Overlord taking some hits at the moment. Again, just going to try and stop further scouts, you know, trying to stop Rogue from figuring out what the follow-up to this might be. There's a few Hellions going to try and dive the right. First BC will be ready soon. This is actually a really tough map, I think, to deny creep spread on. Because one lane is absolutely going to get creeped up no matter what. Because you can't be over here denying creep and over here. You can swap between these two positions, but it kind of means you get creep up here quite easily. I guess that's not super impactful early in the game, though. And maybe just gives you a good way to get creep in front of this base for later. I just don't know if that's much of a problem, right? Because how many attacks are going to focus from this top side down? I don't imagine that many. INnoVation going to keep playing mech, by the way. Apparently he's just a mech warrior this weekend. So, yeah. Well, he's just going to be pulling back. The Overseer is going to finish morphing in. Just going to go for the BC, chasing that Overseer down. There's a couple of factories are going to be finishing up fairly soon as well. A couple of Marines putting some damage out, and that Spire dropping into the back of the natural as well. Just seeing again these Hellions, the Reaper, and joining up and seeing what they can do. And so it's not a lot so far, but I mean, if you're going to play a mech, you're going to be fairly passive anyway. As Rogue goes into this Spire, let's see what he can do with it. If he wants to dive straight into Mutalisks, or if he's going to go for the Corruptors against that BC. He obviously seems to know it's mech, playing that Roach setup, the missile upgrades. So yeah, going to get a bit of a proper Roach setup here too. There's that fourth base. It does just feel, so here's the thing, it does just feel very difficult to deny a lot of these bases, because you can't walk, like, right up in front of them. So that does make me wonder that a little bit, like, you know, is this why we're playing mech here? I mean, you can even go to this base here, and you still only have, like, 2 access points to your bases. It's pretty... It's gonna be pretty... I mean, this map really seems to promote, like, a lot of, like, longer play. Why do the Evolution Chambers have lines in them? Guys, the Evolution Chambers have currently got LEDs installed, it seems. PCs really haven't done much at all, by the way. I know we haven't looked at them much. Nice little run by here of a few lings. There's a couple of Hellions in that mineral line, and they'll do okay to hold this off and to minimize damage taken. So it's lings for Hellions. That's fine. The BC's going to go in the main. The Corruptors just showed up, though. Double Yamato into a teleport out. Should be on the schedule. And there we go, getting those out of there. That's a very interesting little, I suppose, bug. I don't even know how to, I don't even know how that happens. Anyways. Not a super, influential bug. Not going to change the way the game plays. Couple factories just continuing up. Macfield Accelerator on the way. And you've seen the +1 missiles about to finish up. +1 flyer attack on that Spire. This Overlord just going to continue down to the bottom side. The bug's also on the hatchery. Really? With this hatchery? Oh, it's this. There's a line. Oh my god, like things. It's going through everything as like buildings move through it. The Spore Crawler. Do you see it like go on the Spore Crawler? It like went through the Spore Crawler basically. Oh god. All the buildings are just getting like Zapparino'd. Oh, it's over here as well. Is it on the Terran side of the map? It is. It's on the Terran side of the map too. You can see it on like the structures and stuff. That's so weird. That's so interesting. Alright, well, a bit of excitement as the mech game sets up in the form of a very underwhelming graphical error, but all good. Ah, maybe it's kind of cool. I wonder if the players find it distracting. Maybe a bit of a like, what the hell is that? Oh my god, what's up with the infestation pit? It turns! Okay, don't mean to keep talking about it, it's just a few things keep coming to light. Alright, we're going to come down. Roach Ravager coming through as y'all going to be seeing an attempted bust here. Well, I mean, the Corruptors don't come in because the BCs aren't here. These siege tanks, where were they off to? The middle of nowhere, apparently. Now the BCs start to come in, but the tanks on the low ground are not having a good time. If these 3 tanks were over here, he would have killed everything. Instead, he still does well. He holds. But this could have been just a little bit neater here from INnoVation. Yeah, could also take down these rocks and maybe make his life easier too, but he's not gone to explore that far out just yet. Corruptors flying around overhead. Hive is about to complete from Rogue. I'm just going to be having this Roach Ravager Corruptor Force looking to move forward once again now. Looking for a chance to maybe bust through. As we're going to start running forward, the first few lings are going to start getting slammed down. Roach Ravager taking some shots as well. Corrosive Vials coming in. Missile turrets do drop. I'm just going to be seeing a decent hold for the moment here from INnoVation. Is just going to see Rogue moving forward yet again. Here we go, moving in. The Yamato's going to line up onto these Corruptors. Now, the BCs want to try and get out of here alive. They do have teleports. They didn't teleport away, though. I mean, this was a good position to fight for Rogue because it was a bit more open, and just there was no turrets here, right? So, no turret support. Now, Cyclones are locking onto these Corruptors. That's not good because Corruptors going down does mean you're going to have to rebuild those. Otherwise, the BCs become overwhelming. There are still two BCs alive. So, still having two of these BCs really means that these Corruptors now, they're going to have to rebuild in numbers, and that's going to take a lot of money away from what Rogue would like to otherwise spend on Roach Ravager. Rogue is just going to move up the high ground again, still trying to break this 4 base. I mean, he's still attacking up a bit, right? He's, gone up to Hive Tech now. And here we go, just going to start this fight. Tanks firing, Halibats to the front. BCs are going to start backing up. There's only 2 Corruptors, though, so once these Corruptors, I mean, he can just fight these Corruptors, then the BCs can help on the defense. Will it be enough for INnoVation? I mean, obviously, eventually it seems like you're going to clean everything up here, but is that going to be in time? How much damage did you take in that process? 16 workers have fallen, but I mean, again, it's a lot of losses from Rogue. I think it's just nice that he's been able to clean up so much of the Terran army as well. A couple of bars for SCVs, and the BCs will clean up everything else. Now Corruptors rebuild here from Rogue, but it's a big cleanup from both sides, really. INnoVation kills off everything. Rogue loses a lot, but kills off a lot of the tanks, etc. It's not easy for INnoVation to just create a counterattack from this. I'm just going to go take down a Queen and go scanning through for a bunch of these creep tumors. A lot of creep spread going down. You know, this is exactly what I thought this map might be very good for. Just laid back, kind of long macro-focused games. Very defensive styles, such as mech. Because it just feels so tough to fight into these 4 bases. And while Rogue has found a couple openings here and there, I do think it's funny that, like, almost attacking into the natural is the best position you find because of the fact it's got almost the most surface area to attack in with. Compared to these locations with ramps, and this could have been more choked up as well. Do the players have a chance to practice on these maps prior? Yeah, they are given the map list as soon as it's available, before it's announced to the public as well. So they've had these maps, the current players must have had these maps since about Friday, I believe. So if they wanted to play these maps, they've been accessible to them for a good few days if they wanted to check them out ahead of time. And so on and so forth. So yeah. It is tough though, because they do get 16 maps to learn from, and obviously they might not see some of the maps in-game at all, so it is still a little bit difficult to prepare, but they shouldn't ever go onto a map and be like, wait, I have no idea what I'm vetoing or anything, you know? I know some players look at the maps in a little more detail than others do, so there is something to be said about that. Let's see these Cyclones pulling back a little bit. The Ravagers do take some damage. I'm just going to be seeing the Ravagers continue to go down. The tank's just going to be a real stand over here, and that's amazing hold. Gets this 5th base up and operational. And that is going to be INnoVation holding out on this side, so doing very good with that. Nicely handled as our Cyclones are going to come around through the top side. They will lock onto this hatchery. The Lings are going to come running in here. And the Corruptor Roach Ravager kind of wants to go and try and make a bit of a play on this as well, but INnoVation gets scared off, but nothing too crazy otherwise just yet. Few more battles coming down, just going to be seeing those Ravagers trying to connect on in. A couple of Cyclones and get pushed back a little bit as well, as we do see the Ravagers going to turn it back towards these Banelings. On the bottom side, Corruptors are going to come for a little bit of a scout through as well, try and see what can maybe happen here. Obviously, as INnoVation gets up to his additional bases, Rogue is obviously introducing these Banelings. They trade pretty well when they do manage to get into the You know, the Cyclones and the Hellions. With Bane speed now, INnoVation has to go running a little bit. Gonna see the Roach Ravager Bane continuing to gather together. A few more Cyclones continue to come on through. Again, doing decently, just kind of going for this back and forth as we're going to see this base. Honestly, even the planetary shots help out so much in this. Also going to be seeing a Hellion Cyclone continuing through as well at the moment. So, all of this continuing forward right now. And we're just going to be seeing a few other Banes also trying to make their way in. Not going to find anything too successful there just yet. Rogue turns it back around into the middle of the map. So, back to the center here. Plenty more Banes morphing, +3 melee. All of our upgrades continuing through as our Ling's going to go around this bottom side as well. A bunch of BCs down defensively in this position. I'm a little worried that Rogue's not teching up, like no Vipers or anything to pull BCs away, and even the Corrupted count at 11. Considering 4 of those Vipers die instantly to Yamatos, that is not a good Corrupted count, I think, as this BC count increases. So, yeah, in this case, he may be afraid to start Yamatoing because of the potential of those Biles. He loses one BC, he's going to lose another one. The teleports came in very late there. I mean, that was a slow reaction from INnoVation, who is at the same time pushing the top, and he's going to send his BCs in to continue harassing up here. Basically just teleports them as far away from the Corruptors as he can, and he's going to try and do whatever possible, which could be more if he got on top of that base. He could be denying a whole bunch of economy in a game where, at the moment, Rogue is down actually quite a bit of supply as well. Not a bad Cycle and Tank all joined up together. The Corruptors continuing around the top side. It's going to be seeing that +1 flyer. Carapace going to be finishing on the Spider as well, as we do just have, again, the army of INnoVation joining up in the center. Everything together maxed out here, but it's still a lot of Cyclone Hellion with some tank support, and so it's not like the most powerful maxed out mech army you're ever going to see. There's a lot of different things that could absolutely happen. Tanks continue to siege, and INnoVation still wants to make his way across this right side. Across some flowers that still survive through the creep spread. Isn't that nice? Creep doesn't just kill everything, guys. It says, woohoo, BCs get corrosively biled. I was about to say Yamatoed, but no, that's what they do. This is nice, though. If you can catch some of these Ravagers on the exit, and oh no, Corruptors coming in, but flying over Cyclones means a lot of them go down right away. One BC does fall as other units showing up. He teleports out of there with the BCs. I mean, okay, it's smart because the Corrupted count is so low, there's not going to be a response to this. So these BCs can now shoot down this base, perhaps, and kill a lot of drones in the process. Rogue supply still struggling along. As we're going to be seeing INnoVation going to deny this base as well. As we move on forward here, the Lings are going to get through, kill off a siege tank already, so that goes down. Now the Queen's trying to push these BCs back over. They're going to double Yamato, and that's a dead hatchery. Meanwhile, Lings and Ravagers are going to try and make their way down this bottom side. Trying to run in. Cyclones are fully surrounded. They just about escape out, though. Now we're going to see Reinforcement Cyclones getting a whole bunch of extra kills, and Rogue is losing a lot of units. So much going down as INnoVation's mech is starting to tear through this game. Nice long game on Aqueducts. Rogue even taking this forward base now. You know, Aqueducts, I think here's my summary of it. I think it's going to be a slow map to start up on. But I think as the game goes on, it gets very interesting. Like, so many of these bases to deny, and Rogue is kind of over here on what kind of feels like INnoVation's side of the map. Well, this has been a pretty cool game for sure. Game 1 of INnoVation, Rogue Game 2, and maybe a Game 3 still to come. Plenty of games today, guys. I've got 7 or 8 best of 3s in total for you from today's Korean section of the Team Liquid Map Contest Tournament. INnoVation's maxed. I feel like he should be doing something with it, because Rogue, lots of economy, lots of bases. I mean, not an overwhelming amount. When you look at the income, it's kind of evening out as INnoVation gets this forward base set up. So, but I feel like giving Rogue time maybe helps him more than anyone, because he'll get a bank to rebuild and remax. Thing is, his army still just sucks. 19 Ravages, 10 Roaches. He must have something more in production. It's just me, or does his army just look tiny? 22 Ravages now. Okay, so about 22 Ravages. I just don't see that winning a fight, actually. 13 drones go down. Talking about having a good economy. Well, there goes some of it. And gonna find some lock-ons to Ravagers over here. How well can you trade with these lock-ons? Can you keep the Cyclones alive? Yep, so far you are doing a pretty good job of it. I mean, these are the sort of traders which I think are just fine. If the economies are somewhat even and so on, I think this is great for INnoVation. Clearing out that Ravager counter gain. Just never letting it max out to too kind of crazy a setup. Just gonna come in chasing here. These few Cyclones gonna try and get a few extra lock-ons. A lot of them went off on Corruptors, which actually got out of range though. So now these Cyclones are running in here. I love a couple of these tank positions though, and that's kind of a crazy base to hold as a meching Terran. You hold this base and you have like high ground tanks that cover the middle of the map. That's an extremely powerful place to be. Like, that is super powerful. I mean, you gotta remember here, guys, that Rogue was kind of playing to win this game off of Roach, Ravager, Corruptor, and he's never really teched out of that. So he was playing to win this game like 10 minutes ago, or, 8 minutes ago at most. And as that BC even teleports out of there, he is going to come through with another wave. Can he just get enough going to break down INnoVation? Gets rid of a couple tanks right away, but even the planetary helping with a few extra shots goes such a long way right now. Biles on the BC, though. That BC was not really meant to die here against what was only 1 or 2 Corruptors remaining. And he does get the BCs there to clean up. Now no Corruptors on the map and not in production. Rogue can't really afford a good amount of Corruptors anymore, so I guess it's not really too surprising. Yeah, this is, not looking to be the best. He sits down the bottom side from Rogue. Just gonna see the BCs moving over. Heading down to the bottom right. It's just gonna be seeing our Ling Ravager Roach. Trying to come through. Corrosive Piles trying to land, but the BCs managed to dodge away. I mean, this is the issue. These BCs are kind of unkillable until you get Corruptors back up. I mean, pulling the Queens is a cute touch, but it probably just isn't going to work out right, as BCs will just come back and start to work on the Roach Ravager, which makes decent progress through the tanks, but there's just no rebuild off of this anymore, and INnoVation wins the mech game on Aqueducts. First match where stuff floats away is really cool. I can't believe that's not used more, almost, actually. Alright guys, well this is a 4-player map, which means it usually gets vetoed, but in this case it made it into the TvZ. Welcome to Tidehunter, as we get this started. Tidehunter is a freestyle map by Killer Smile. So let me take you through it quickly. Basically, it's got this kind of like arena in the middle. This is the one thing we noticed. We actually got close spawns against. Yesterday we had Mana top right, Lambo top left, I believe. Today we've got bottom left, bottom right. So we got this arena in the middle, which, when you don't have cross spawns, I don't know how much this will really get used. Mostly this pathway here, because that's how you get to each other's bases, until rocks get taken down or these minerals get mined out. So, yeah, as a Zerg here, you can take your third here, generally, and end up expanding toward the Terran. And then the Terran, I would imagine, goes main, natural, and then you take a third base over here. Or you could even... What if? Okay, how crazy would this be? INnoVation takes his natural, and then he mines the minerals and takes his third base here, and boom, he's expanding next to Rogue. Isn't that just terrifying? LCV just going to be coming through the top. Moving along. Actually about to finish up, and that was the INnoVation. Gonna be happy to win the scouting roulette. Rogue, not so happy. His Overlord is not where it wants to be. I think he realizes now. Yep, he sees that CC. So he does see the CC. This is actually kind of an interesting situation, because I really do think you can mine this out as INnoVation and create a hell of a push. What you could even do is you could wall like across here. I know this is maybe a bit far in the future, but wall across here and then use this as your pushing lane. I mean, there's like 0 flank potential for the Zerg. Where does Rogue end up taking the third base? That I don't know either. There's so much potential with how these bases are set up and so on. Water command morphing on the naturals. This factory going to land on the reactor. Alien's going to be on the way up. It is a double gas opener from Inno, so I'm not going to play that 3cc. Rogue is mining over here. I genuinely think that Rogue might want to take this as his third base and expand up the map. Yeah. Means he can't take like a super quick third base. What do you think about 4-player maps? I think I have to defer to the opinion of the pro players, which is that they don't like them. And for it's not the thing is with the pro players, when they say they don't like something, it's usually like one race says they don't like something. But I think every race doesn't like 4-player maps. You know. We're gonna just play like a very fast lair. There's a well 3cc to finish up this wall. Yeah, I mean, there's just a few problems with 4-player maps in general. And I mean, I already see looking at this, like, crazy situations and how you can expand as the Terran to take advantage. Uh-oh. Aliens in this natural expansion going to come through for a bunch of drones already. And Rogue is going to take a bit of a beatdown. 11, 12 workers, and that's a good win for INnoVation. He just walked into this natural. But yeah, no, the problem with... I think the problem with the 4-player maps is that there's just almost a lot of RNG in the sense of, like, a map can be very good for one race if they get cross-spawn, but if they get near spawns, and even depending which near spawn they get, it can be really kind of insane. Like, say Rogue could spawn top, and then he takes his natural here, but his third here, he can immediately take a third away from INnoVation without having to mine these minerals out, right? Whereas right now, to take a third base, he doesn't want to take it here. That's clearly obvious by the Spire and the fact that he's choosing this 2-base build. He doesn't want to expand here because he knows how much trouble that's going to put him in. He'd much rather have this base. But he could already have a base away from INnoVation if he expanded here, you know? So that's like a bit of RNG on the spawn as well. So yeah, it's, I can see the problems, and I can understand how players can be a little bit... Yeah, I can see why players don't like them necessarily a lot. Now, Starcraft 2 players definitely like the consistency, you know? That's what you like about 4-player maps? I know, but that's what the pro players dislike about the 4-player maps. That the games sometimes get decided by your spawns, more so than your skill, you know? Okay, but my real opinion on this is that, put it this way. They were phased out for a reason in the first place. And I'm not sure what necessarily made us want to have a big resurgence of them. I don't think it would be bad to have one 4-player map in the map pool. I don't think that would be bad. If you take out Beckett Industries and you put in like a 4-player map instead, I don't think too many people are bothered by that because Beckett barely gets played anyway. It's going to get vetoed a hell of a lot. But yeah, I don't think that people are going to be too bothered by one 4-player map. I think what people definitely don't want is multiple 4-player maps to end up in the map pool. 4 workers going down in the mutas. These Hellions are fully blocked. Now, the mutas are going to be somewhat defended by these BCs. It's kind of been a weird opening with that super fast Spire going up against the BC setup. Especially then when you go in mutas, which are then somewhat defended by this. 14 workers go down, though the third in trouble for INnoVation. Interesting that he's playing mech again, by the way. One way to set up is now we're going to teleport across the map. Well, defenses here are minimal, to be quite honest with you. As double transfuse already used in that first queen. Second queen is not in range to be transfused by anything. And these BCs are actually having a fantastic time. Now working their way through a couple of mutas. And the defense from Rogue might just not be here. Well, just going to be jumping onto this main base. Like, there's just no spores because Rogue said anything in the skies my mutas are going to deal with. But obviously, it's not played out like that at all. The mutas, some of them were across the map. INnoVation just keeping that first BC back for so long, I think actually kind of caught Rogue off guard a bit here as well. There's some low HP mutas right now. Wait, okay, obviously the BC, they teleported in. I forgot that. Yeah, they just teleported in right now. Let's see, one of the queens going down, the other queen taking some hits as well. And Let's see the mutas coming through in the BC. Looks like it's in some trouble. Second BC going to teleport in. I mean, Inno is really confident about keeping this position rolling for himself right now. Can't we just solve the issue by using reflective mirror symmetry? I think so. You know, Shakura's wasn't so bad because it was like it was a small map anyway, but like cross and you could like say cross or you can't spawn like one direction to each other, but you could spawn like cross or up. I think the biggest problem with that is just the fact that it's I don't know how interesting. Like, why not just play like a bottom left, bottom right map and then do something more interesting with the top right, rather than it being a repeat of the main bases? That's the only other argument I really have. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think the problem is we have no. I think I was reading someone's comment on TL.net, and they were saying, well, the maps chosen are all just this rotational symmetry, and that's part of the problem, part of the reason we won't see a lot of love for these 4-player maps. And I think it's true. A lot of these 4-player maps are the ones that are kind of set up in the same kind of way. You have this corner of the map, and then it's just rotated to the top right, top left, bottom left. And that's what creates a lot of the issues. It's an interesting discussion. I mean, we could talk about this for days, honestly. Was the 4-player map with only diagonal spawns and very different rush distances? Well, I don't know what that map is, but the other map you have is Foxtrot Labs, right? That was a map which actually was essentially you could only spawn cross, but it was different in top left and top right. So you would have two completely different games. It was like two maps in one, right? But you can spawn top right, bottom left, or top left, bottom right, and this part of the map and this part of the map were the same, and this part of the map and this part of the map were the same. That was kind of an interesting thing. Cross position only would fix that. Okay, but then the issue with cross position only is then why are we making a 4-player map? Why don't we just make a 2-player map? Because then why are you limiting yourself to just reusing the same map layout in the other corners that you don't spawn in? Why not just make it more interesting, you know? So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of discussion around it. I think it is a case of, for viewers, it can be very fun and very different. For pros, it can be very frustrating. It's like Game 7 of the finals goes to the 4-player map and it's close spawns and it's just Imber for Terran or something. Or it's cross spawns and Terran can't win because the map's massive on cross spawns. You know what I mean? That top right base off center? I don't think so. I think we're okay. As we've been continuing to see this mech play out with all of these mutas and melee upgrades coming in from Rogue, that's been a lot of what we've been having so far. Let me just pull back down to the bottom right. Apparently it was off center, but Rogue rebuilt it. Okay. But yeah, but plenty of factories, plenty of Thors on the way out. I mean, I really kind of feel like INnoVation's army is just going to get to a point here, which is like, I'm going to have Mass Thor, you're going to have Mutalisks. That's going to kill you. If as long as you have a decent amount of Hellions so you can clean up the Lings, maybe then you need the Bins a little bit. Hey, what's up, Muslim? Thank you for the raid. Welcome, everybody. We're currently watching Inno Rogue, as Inno is meching it up for the second game in a row. These are brand new maps that might be on the future ladder map pools, part of the Team Liquid Map Contest 15. Some more Banes is going to be up on the top side, and they're going to continue to morph through. The Mutalisks and Overseers around in the center as well. Going to be seeing a couple of Spines building on the top, and a hatchery very far top right coming through as well. Okay, and run by is going to do okay, more than I thought. Oh my goodness. Inno just ran his SCVs back into it. That was not the play, Inno. There was zero need for that to be so effective. That in no world did that need to be as effective as that. Inno's going to counterattack though, and I don't think Rogue has the army to defend this. His army supply is low because he's got a lot of drones, which you need when you play Ling Bay Mida. But the thing is, when you play Ling Bay Mida against mech, you're never meant to let the Terran player attack you and to get to your side of the map, right? Like, you're never meant to let the Terran player take this fight with their entire army. And especially off the back of just throwing 20 Banelings at a mineral line. That means you're never going to have the units that you need here. And Well, the BC support are actually a really good way to clean up the Lings as well. The Hellbat's just going to go for the mineral line. Yamato's are popping off here, there, and everywhere. The Thors don't die to Banelings. And INnoVation. It's going to look good. Very good as he takes down Rogue 2-0. And a cool game on Tidehunter. Pretty fun little startup. Again, air builds are the choice, same as what we saw on Tidehunter yesterday. So